Perfect, thank you. Okay, so I need the permission, sorry. So I can share the screen again. Perfect, now I can. Woof. Well, I hope you all had the time to stretch a little bit and to relax. That was totally intentional. We needed that time to break. And now we are going to talk about time or calendar blocking. Calendar blocking is very, very important because I have in here 3 main reasons why using this technique. One of them is organization, to have this structure and know exactly what you're doing. You're going to reduce the time wasting because you will see the structure so clear that you know exactly what you need to do. You'll not thinking every time, what should I be doing next? Or is this a good time to actually start this? Or do I have enough time to finish the task? When you block the calendar and you know exactly what you're doing, all of these things goes away. And the third one is increasing focus, because once you sit down and you block the time to say, okay, these 2 hours I'm going to work on my project, no matter what, I'm going to be seated in here and I'm going to get as creative as I can, or I'm going to block 1 hour per day to just working out. And that's my time and that's what I'm deciding to focus on. Okay, so I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with this slide, and mainly because of the next one. This is one kind of time blocking. Please let me know if any of you have ever used this technique. I would love to know if any of you use Google Calendar or a regular agenda or a notebook where you schedule everything. Okay, Jeannie, you do? Crystal, Marquita, Diana, Wen, Chris, which is best? You mean by Google Calendar or having a paper one? Yes, okay, it depends totally on you. I was totally a paper person. I hated Google Calendar until a couple of years ago. And it depends on what are you working on. For me, having everything on my computer right now, it's very, very flexible because I'm scheduling a lot of calls. So I have the link in here and I can totally go directly to the Google Calendar and I know exactly which link to click. But if you're doing more hand stuff or you're just working on paper and you don't need to actually get into the Google Calendar, you can totally do it on your agenda, on your planner. It depends on what do you want to feel. For me, this is very visual, and the nice thing is that you can add all these colors and make it your own. For me, all of this makes sense, and I will explain it right now. When I use my phone calendar to also set alarms for time blocking. That's very good. Like, you set the alarm for time blocking. That's perfect. So let me explain you a little bit of how this kind of time blocking works and why I choose these colors. One thing I really want you to make sure to all of you see is there are blank spaces. Okay, this is very, very important to have just resting time, blank spaces, just in case something happens. Every single day, something happens that we need to be prepared for. So in here, for example, the first thing in the morning is my small morning routine. I have it every single day in there. Then I have my work. I have 3 jobs right now. So my personal work, then I have preparing lunch, and actually resting after lunch. Then I have my internship, then I have the accountability advisor work. And by the end of the night, most of it is having calls or time for me to learn. I love engage in many groups. Actually, Jeannie and I met in this blue one. And it's very important for me to have that time to actually get the knowledge I want. And to just, after that, it says dinner and unplug. So everything that's in that little purple, that soft purple, it's personal time. That's time I blocked for myself to have dinner, to just have lunch and everything, and just have time for myself. And I highly encourage you to do so. This is a very simple version. It's just you knowing exactly what are you going into. And the other version, it's the next level. This one, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. You don't need to start like this. seriously, I started doing this kind of last year because I was always in the other one or in paper. In here, I have the blocks, and then in the blocks, I add the specific task I'm doing. So all the green in here were accountability advisor calls, and I start putting.
I think Marquita raised her hand. Marquita, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, for someone, sorry, thank you. For someone who is starting off with like this type of calendar thing, would you more recommend like an app to follow or just to do it in a regular phone calendar? Because I think with the regular phone calendar, it doesn't have as much variety for you to make it all colorful and time block it in such a way. And if you do recommend one, what's a good one to use?
Okay, if you're going to start, Google Calendar is very simple for you to set it, and you can totally establish many colors. You can start by this version, it's 4 colors, 5 colors, and you can even have less if you are not, well, I have 3 jobs. Not everyone has 3 jobs, so you can absolutely have less colors in here. And in Google Calendar, it's very simple for you to set it. Just establish these 4 type of tasks you really want to just take a look at it. And that's it. It's for you to be very aware of what you are going to do every single day. So I will highly encourage you to start using Google Calendar, or in paper, use markers. I always have these highlighters, and I say, okay, let's say green is the personal one, yellow is everything that's going on in the house, and you can do it as well. As long as you feel comfortable doing it, what serves you best.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I was saying, in here is for you to get very deep in detail, and you don't need to start doing it. I just wanted to show you how it might look like after you block everything, and then you want to see the details on what's in here. It's just for you to know, you don't need to do it. And okay, the most important thing in all this presentation is intentionality and flexibility, because we really need to be intentional. As I said at the beginning, where are we spending our time? Why are we going to spend that time in such or such task? So make it very personal. Why do you want to block the time to work out? Why do you want to block the time to go out for a walk? Or why do you want to block the time for you to just sit and listen to a podcast, reading? Make it very intentional, and don't get overwhelmed by, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. No, make it something that you feel comfortable. And always remember, this is a process. You are not going to start making these big Google calendars, these big projects one day from another. You don't start getting up at 5 a.m. one day to another. It's progress. It's for you to start just feeling what you feel, and yeah, go ahead and enjoy your time and decide how are you going to spend it. And the other thing is flexibility. And this is, it's one of the most important, because you cannot just force things. As I said at the beginning, you cannot put task one in front of another and another, because you need time, as we say, to stretch, as we did, and time for breath, for reading, time to just unplug. You need to have this time for yourself. And always remember, we are human beings. We are going to make mistakes. Things are going to come in every single day into our lives. So we need to have that time in advance. For example, I always block a time in my calendar just in case something happened in the week that made me not finish in one task. So I say, okay, if I don't finish what I wanted to do on Monday, because I don't know, I got a call for the job and I need to go there instead of just being at home, then I know I will have the time, let's say Friday night, to do it. Always be flexible with the things you're putting in here. You can totally move it 30 minutes, 10 minutes. It's for you to use it as it serves you best. There's no right or wrong. It's a tool for you to use it the best way you can. So do you have any questions before we finish? I would love for all of you to connect with me if time management and goal achievement is something you want to improve. I'm more than happy to just connect with you in Instagram, say, hey, I was in Jeannie's training and it was nice, I want to meet you. So this is my Instagram. Let me just put it in here. And for all of you that are interested in getting a little bit more of knowing in what I do, or just asking me things about this call, maybe today you ask one thing or another, but if tomorrow you say, oh, this really resonated with me, I want to know a little bit more, have a free 20-minute call with me, and I will totally answer absolutely everything you need. So I will drop the links on the chat. And sorry. And yes, if you have any questions, I'm here for you these couple of minutes. And thank you so much for being here, for listening and engaging. I love seeing all in the chat saying what you are doing and all the tips that, for example, when setting the alarms for blocking the time, that's really good. I feel like everyone can use it. Like, really remind yourself that you want to start doing something and put the alarm for it.
Ladies, this is your opportunity to ask our time and productivity mentor here if you have any questions.
I do. I have one. What happens when something derails your calendar? Like, it's all good when we schedule and we are intentional, and then something comes up, and I'm sure this is from a group, we all go through life. So like, what do you do to get back on track? Like, what is your, like, how do you do that?
Okay, so that's what I meant when I talk about the flexibility, because it happens every single day. So you need to have this provision to say, if something happens, I know how to react, because I don't need exactly this time to doing it, because I have this reserved spot to kind of save it. But one of the things I highly, highly recommend to all my clients is having deadlines, like really saying, okay, if this is due 2 weeks from now, I want to have it tomorrow. I'm going crazy, like, you don't need it to have it tomorrow, but have it a week in advance will allow you to have so many room for, let's say, unforeseen things, that you will feel good if that day you just don't feel like you can accomplish it. So always having all this plan will help you really, really good. I plan everything 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks prior. If you can schedule a full month, you can start seeing when normally how can I explain this? Once you start tracking everything and you know your patterns and you know how your week and your month works, you can start playing with things. Like for me, I know every single Wednesday it's very hard for me to do things because I started the day with 2 hours of Chinese. So in my mind, it's, I don't work anymore. So you can start noticing these things. If one day you know you're going to be tired because the first part of the day you really exercised it a lot, or you had a very heavy work, then don't plan things for that Wednesday. Plan things for the day ahead or the day prior. It's playing a little bit with how you know, with what you know your week looks like, and then improving it every single day. I can see. Yes, Marquita, I wanted to address.
No, I just had a question.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I saw Diana on the chat, so I wanted to address her question as well. So I can see it here, explaining the most productive time again, and plus apply example of what activity to use. Okay. So Diana, that's a very good question. It's a so big topic, but this diagram, this graphic, what it shows is that normally your most productive time is 3 hours after waking up. That's all I want you to know right now. Like really 3 hours after work, waking up, it's when you need to do everything that requires the most energy, the most time, because that's when your brain, it's really light up and it's like, okay, I can do every single thing that you put me in here. One of the tasks you can do in there is planning a project. You can totally just sit there and work. It depends a lot on what kind of work you're doing. But for example, after, with the rebound we saw, it's more creative process. It's not something that requires that much, that many energy. It's more you to say, okay, what if I do this next morning? What if I do that next month? It's more going with the flow. I don't know if that explained that. And Marquita, I love that you downloaded the Google Calendar. I don't know if Diana can write anything. Okay.
Hi, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the 3 hours in the morning, it sounded like that was the most important
Yes.
part of it. I do find that throughout the day, I have these down points where after the peak, I go through this, a little bit tired. And like you said before, I probably need to take a break, a stretch walk, or do something. And I was just wondering if there were any other exercises or activities to help kind of give me more energy without resorting to food.
Yes, absolutely. In this part, when we saw the curve going down, very good activities to do in there is actually what we say we should not be doing as much. It's checking the emails. It's something that you don't require any effort. It's something that you don't require that many energy. So this is a very good space for you to start doing it. And some tips to regain that energy. I know Jeannie can say a lot more of that than I do. But what I normally do is stretching, going for a walk, drinking water. And I had an app with really good meditations that one of them was actually how to regain that energy after eating, because normally after eating is when you just feel like boom. So it's called Shine Up. I will put it in here if someone can want to see it. It's the Shine Up, and you have meditations to just boost a little bit more your energy. It's doing something that you love, because if you hate meditation, you will not feel like you're gaining any energy. So it is totally up to you to do something that brings you higher.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Marquita. Is that the question you wanted to ask? Or is this another one? You can totally unmute yourself if you want.
Yes, it is. Sorry, because my daughter
Okay.
was like screaming. But in a nutshell, pretty much like for someone like me that's kind of getting used to or now trying to get the whole calendar process, because it's very chaotic. I have a 7-month-old, a 2-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and trying to be more organized, I guess you could say. So I'm not like scatterbrained. Is it
Okay.
something where it would take a normal habit, like 3 weeks, for example, to get used to, or what should I expect to start making it more of a habit than a chore?
Okay, with the Google Calendar, the thing is, it is a habit because it's something you're going to start using it so much, you will not even notice it when it becomes a habit. So for me, I highly encourage you to do it once per week, like establishing that time and say, okay, today I want to make sure I'm going to start using Google Calendar. And the first things you need to start adding in is something that you know exactly is going to happen at that time. Appointments, calls, you need to visit someone, something that you are completely sure it's going to happen. So that's a very good way to start using the calendar. And then you can start adding things as you notice it's best for you. For example, if for you cleaning the house is better in the morning because nobody is it's around or something like that, start putting that first thing in the morning. Well, after your morning routine and after everything you want to do by yourself and for yourself. And just try it a month. I think it's a very good measure because you will start noticing these patterns. You cannot see patterns in just 1 week, but in a month, you can start noticing what works for you and what doesn't. So that will be my advice. You're welcome. Anyone else have any questions? I found that even scheduling in reminders to eat snacks help for my exactly when. That's actually one of the things I told my previous client, because she was like, I forget eating every single time. And I say, put the alarm, like seriously, put the alarm. I need to have dinner, I need to lunch, because it's normal. We are in a go, go, go mindset, and it's something that you just forget. Water and eat. Yes, water is so, so needed. For me, this is my glass of water. I drink at least 7 of this. And I started by saying, okay, put it in here. You're going to drink water. And I have my jar next to me all the time. So yeah, to form a habit is make it very obvious. Put it in front of you, like the reminders, the alarms, absolutely everything for you to get used to.
Any other questions, ladies, or comments? I would love for you to put in the chat for Alejandra what your biggest takeaway,
Yes, please.
like that you're, and something that you're gonna do today or implement based on today's workshop. And I would love for you to also include a little bit of like a sentence or two for Alejandra. Let her know, well, what some of your greatest takeaways, what you're going to start with right away for me. That'd be amazing.
Yes, thank you. That would be awesome.
And I wanted to add also that, like, you know, when it comes to anything, when we're like forming a new habit, it's always going to seem really hard in the very beginning. And that's why it does take a little bit of work in the beginning, but it will become autopilot, especially after, like, you know, they say 21 days, right, to really form a habit, and then like 90 days to form a lifestyle. So it does take a little bit of practice, but just like our work emails, we're so dependent on our work emails in our day-to-day, in our careers. You know, I want you to think of the mindset like treating it like your personal email, incorporating that together with it, right? We check on our emails so much, we check on our work calendar so much. Let's check on the Google Calendar and use that as a form of reminder in the beginning, and start putting in our time blocks and refer to it so that we know what we need to do. And also, I think individually as each of us, so we know what our productivity windows are. So that's probably the best window of time for you to be prepared and know what you're going to do, right? Like if you know that morning is your go-to time, then the night before, also write out your 3 non-negotiables that you're going to be able to do in that window of time, because time is so precious. And then do the hardest one first. That way you create that momentum and you're able to just like, okay, well, the hard one's done. Now all the other ones might be easier. But I think you girls are just so amazing. And thank you so much for thank you so much for spending Saturday with us. And Alejandra, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. It was so helpful. The chat was buzzing. And I hope that you guys were able to jot down notes and take away many things. So let us know in the chat what you're going to start with today, what you're going to do. I know Marquita said that she's already downloaded the Google Calendar. She's going to start with that, adding your reminders, putting in your breaks, turning off your notifications, start tracking how you use your social media. All that stuff adds up, right? And before you know it, you're going to end up having more time than you know what to do with it. At least that's the hope, right?
Yeah, totally. Because as long as you keep getting rid of distractions, you will realize exactly how much time you have. And then you will feel like, okay, then what do I do? What can I do now? I have so many time.
Exactly. And like that's the goal.
Yeah.
Diana says that she's going to be adding more me time habits as part of your morning routine. Diana, you also exercise with me too. So that's part of your morning routine as well.
I do. And you're keeping me accountable every morning.
Yes, that's awesome. And then Gwen, greatest takeaways, establishing boundaries with each of us. Absolutely. Even with personal items, not just work. Absolutely. Yeah, because we're so responsible when it comes to our work and our careers. We're like, okay, we know the certain deadlines, but what about our personal life? What about keeping that accountable? Like, we are humans breathing in life into our careers. We are so much more than that, right? Even some of the moms that we have here, career women, all that stuff, we need to prioritize ourselves first, because without us, there will be nothing else, right? Everything else will kind of just, fall in a downward trajectory. So we want to make sure that we stay on top of it. And having said all of that, I want to make sure that we give ourselves grace and self-compassion too. So if things, like Crystal said, if things derail our schedule and it wasn't as planned, do what you can, right? And there's certain things that we can't control. So like, let's not make that just completely derail our week, right? Just have that maybe derail maybe in the moment, and then do what we can to make sure that we can also, do the other tasks that we need to do.
Have the flexibility and being good to yourself. That's the most important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I
All
would
right.
love to share in the chat for all of you if you want to reach out to me in the Instagram or just 20-minute calls. I will share the link, and it will be lovely to meeting you one-on-one. But it was very nice meeting you all in here. And yeah, thank you again, Jeannie, so much for this opportunity. I love being here, and I hope this was very helpful for all of you. And just by one little thing that you can start applying, that will be it. Like one thing you can take out of here, I know it will make a big change in your life for you to have the time you want for the things you love. So I really appreciate you all for being here.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Thrive Tribe. I'll see you guys. I'll see some of you guys Monday. And Alejandra, I'll see you as well on Monday. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you. Love you all. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
You
You
too.
too.